It's Thursday night, ladies and gentlemen. You are almost there. One more day, and you will have made it to the weekend. Be loud, be proud. You have survived. You have told everybody that you're putting in the hours, you're doing the work. Look at that boss man and say, I did it in spite of you. Now, don't fire me. Hi, how are you doing out there in internet land? My name is Brian Trippett. I am the Front Porch Conservative. Welcome to the pre-weekend version of this thing we do, this thing that we call Chattin on the Porch. We are on Rumble, we are on Twitter, and we are on that quaint little alternative social media platform known as YouTube. And we're talking about the news. We're talking about your views. We're trying to get my views. We're trying to give everybody's views. And we're trying to figure out what the heck is going on in this crazy world in which we live. This big blue marble in the middle of the universe. So if you haven't done it yet, please go ahead and subscribe to my channel. You know you want to. Go ahead and hit the thumbs up as you are pulling up a chair to sit down on the electronic front porch. Share the link around to your friends, be it on Twitter, on Gab, Gettr, Truth Social, Facebook. I don't care where you share the link. Just tell your friends to get in here, for heaven's sake. Guy's working his butt off here trying to make this thing go. Take all the help I can get, and it is appreciated. Again, my name is Brian Trippett. I am the Front Porch Conservative. Welcome to this session of Chatting on the Porch. We're hanging out together. We're talking about some of the things going on in the news. And we're looking at each other and saying, you know, I thought I understood all this, and then I went back and read it again. I don't know. But that's why we all get together. We kind of compare notes and see if we're like, hey, what'd you think about that? What'd you think about this? I don't know. What'd you think? Okay, together, we've got it figured out. So, again, as always, please share the link, hit the thumbs up, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. It would be greatly, greatly appreciated by me, your humble host. Oh, goodness. How are you guys doing out there today? Hello. Howdy. And yes, we are now friends on Facebook. Ooh la la. Let's not get everybody jealous. Anywho, glad to have you guys here tonight. It's going to be kind of a chill evening. I mean, we got some things to go over tonight. By way of a comparison and a contrast, we've got some stuff to talk about. I hope you guys are feeling good. I'm feeling kind of, TBA says, I wish it would rain. My grass is languishing. Well, I can respect that. I'm going to mow my grass this weekend, rain or not. I mean, for my part, it's been about a few weeks. I haven't mowed it because there's just nothing to mow. Right now it's just tall. That's all it is. But I'm kind of like you. It's kind of reaching the point. We need some rain, at least in my area. I don't know how it is with y'all out there in the country. But in my neck of the woods, it's dry. It is really dry. Anyway, we're glad to have you guys here. Now, who else is in the house? Zippy is here. Zippy's over on Rumble, lurking, as he normally is prone to do. But he lurks with intent. He's not just lurking, he's commenting, but lurking and commenting. And I think he said, was he the one who, no, it was TBA who said, Happy International Cat Day. Yeah, all right. Well, happy, and a big meow to you too. Let's see, what else have we got here? Zippy's like sharpening his claws, reading black magic books while watching a cauldron brew. Fall has arrived. Well, okay, that's just you. Let's see, who else is here? Gypsy is here, darling. WWG1 is in the house. Yeah, we got the usual. We have the usual cast of characters, and there are other people out there lurking, and daggone it, I know you are, but, And good evening, young lady. Love you, darling. Last night of work before an 8-day staycation. Woot, 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 woot. Good for you. Ain't nothing like a staycation. But now don't do all that. Don't work around the house and forget to rest. That's all I'm saying. Unless, of course, you've got all the work done before the staycation starts. Now, if that's the case, you just have all the fun you want to. Anyhow, yeah, me giving advice about what to do on vacation. You might be here, so you might not be here. I don't quite know how to interpret that, but if you're here or even if you're not here, we're still glad either way. So there you go. Ladies and gentlemen, would you excuse me for just 1 second? I will be right back. Someone just literally knocked on my door. Don't go anywhere. Okay, note to self. Note to self. Must put sign on the door says do not disturb live streaming in progress. And I apologize to you guys. I apologize. I just temporarily put you guys on hold for an ADT salesman. Okay. Note to self, sign will be going up in future. Okay. Let me get resettled into my chair here. Because there's a certain amount of now no. You are not going to go crazy while I'm gone. Well, TBA says do not disturb. I'm not answering the door. Okay. All right. Could be. That might be the way we go here. Thinking that I'm gone. You guys are going to act crazy. What the heck's the matter with you? Just get I love this idea. Yeah, just get the sign. Don't even get the system. That's not a bad idea. No snitching on the porch. What happens here? Exactly. I tell you. I love you guys. You are the coolest audience on the whole of the internet. And before it's all said and done, we're going to bunch of people. What's this? What? They blocked all cell phone service at Trump's rally, blamed the Secret Service, never receiving the picture of. My dear, if you haven't done it yet, and I'm not saying drop whatever you're doing, but tag me in a link. I want to see this. I'm not saying you're not telling me the truth. I believe you. I believe you every time you tell me something. But honey, send me a link. I want to see this. Because okay. Waiting on confirmation. Okay, fair enough. Anywho, sorry for all that. All right, let's get into some stuff. So, the big news of the day, Donald Trump's press conference down in Mar-a-Lago. Now, there's certain things that happen in not just a campaign, but in life that sort of build up to an event. And I think we're kind of reaching the crescendo because certain things are coming together all at the same time. For example, it has now been, 18 days since Kamala Harris was more or less declared the nominee of the Democrat Party. Mind you, this is the same woman who didn't get a single solitary vote for her in the 2024 primaries and caucuses. Everybody voted for Joe Biden. Mind you, she didn't even get a primary or caucus vote in 2020. She dropped out 2 months before the Iowa caucus. Okay. No one's voted for her, but she's the nominee of the Democrat Party. The delegates voted for her, but those delegates were Joe Biden delegates. And by the way, there is an interesting level of friction that's building between Nancy Pelosi and Joe Biden. Now, you're not necessarily seeing it from Joe Biden, But Nancy Pelosi is out running her mouth. And we're probably not going to get into it tonight, but we're probably going to get into it for Hodgepodge Stew on Saturday morning when we get together for Front Porch Brunch. But Nancy's out there running her mouth right now, and the more she keeps talking, if I'm Joe Biden, I'm probably getting pissed off. Did you hear her make the comment the other day, today, that, I've never really been that impressed with Joe Biden's political operation? And I went, ooh, you helped get him out, and that's just throwing dirt in the guy's face when he's down. That took some balls. I'm not going to lie. But anyway, certain things in life and politics happen and they lead to a crescendo. And TBA asked me, Brian, do you think Joe will crash the DNC convention? Ooh, that's a good question. That really is. Would he have every incentive to do it? Yeah, I think he would. I think he does. I think he's got every incentive to do it. Will he do it? Yet to be determined. But if he does crash the convention, that sort of begs the question, how do you do it? Now, I'll answer this question quickly, and then I'll get back to where I was going. There are ways of doing things, and there are ways of doing things. I mean, look, the delegates have now voted officially to make Kamala the nominee of the party. Okay? She's got the nomination. Unless there is some arcane rule that would allow Joe to walk into the convention and just turn the tables over. Okay? She's the nominee. So you asked me the question, will he crash the DNC? I don't know if he will, but if he does, how would he do it? Well, to me, if he's going to do it, he'll do it with a convention speech. And by that, what I'm getting at specifically is this. He's not going to stand up there in front of the microphone on national television and say, yeah, you want to know why I'm not running for re-election? Because Kamala Harris greenlit Barack Obama to threaten me with the 25th Amendment. They basically forced me out. He won't do that. But look for some very cryptic comments to be made in his speech, or actions that he might take during the convention that throws shade on Kamala or Barack Obama or Nancy or any of them. If that's how he's going to crash the convention, I say that's how he's going to do it. He'll either do it with his speech with some very sly, backhanded compliments, or he's going to take some actions behind the scenes that won't necessarily gum up the works for Kamala, but they'll basically make her life a pain in the rear end for a little while. He'll just basically throw shade. If he's going to do it, I say that's how he does it. Okay? All right. In life, as in politics, there are certain events that happen and they lead you to a crescendo or a conclusion. And I'm not sure we're at the conclusion of this crescendo yet, but we're definitely getting up there. What I'm getting at is this. For the past 18 days, Kamala Harris has not done a single solitary interview with a reporter or a journalist. She hasn't sat down for a one-on-one interview. She hasn't done a press conference. She hasn't done anything else. And believe it or not, it's starting to become noticeable, and even the mainstream press is commenting on it. We've got a clip here in a little bit. Okay. And yesterday, the Trump campaign sort of cranked it up a notch with that glorious stunt that J.D. Vance pulled in Wisconsin. Okay. I mean, when we showed the clip of it last night. So here's the group of reporters and press people that are following along the Harris campaign. They're hanging out by Air Force Two. Well, the camera turns to the left, and you see this group of people walking toward them, and leading the pack is J.D. Vance. So JD walks up and says, "Hi, guys. How you doing? I, wanted to take a look at Air Force Two since I might be riding around on that plane in the near future. And now that was if he'd have just done that and quit right there, that's a mic drop moment and you turn around and walk off. But no, he took it one step further. So he sits there and he stands there and basically says, I just wanted to come over. I thought you guys might be getting lonely since Kamala doesn't do interviews, you guys. By the way, have you guys asked her why she won't take any questions from you guys? It'd be kind of nice if she actually, talked to you, took questions, that sort of thing. Okay. And then he turns and JD got the desired effect that he wanted, and you knew that because as he turned around to walk off, about 3 steps from walking away, someone yelled, "What would you like for her to do?" And JD turned right back around, walked back over to the press, and gave his answer. He got the exact effect that he wanted. That was very, very sharp what JD Vance did. Now I can just hear you Trump haters out there. Oh, of course you'd say it was pretty sharp. You're for Trump. No. That's what you call proper manipulation of the situation. Okay. Not all manipulation is necessarily bad. Okay. And sometime I'll get into my philosophical reasons for why I say that. But basically, Vance verbally manipulated the press into doing the very thing he wanted them to do. And then he explained, well, I think it'd be nice if she just takes some questions from you guys, just kind of off the cuff. Right. And Ruben, here'd be a way for old Joe to do his thing. Absolutely. Hang on one second. Okay. But yeah, I mean, there's now that was yesterday. So Trump either late last night or early this morning announces he's doing a 2 p.m. press conference at Mar-a-Lago. Well, we've got some highlights from that. And the press conference lasted a little bit over an hour. I thought it was pretty solid. Would I sit here and tell you that it was the best press conference he ever gave? No, not necessarily. Do I think he was hitting solid doubles and triples? Yeah, I think so. Trump accomplished what he wanted to do in that presser. And one of the first things he did was drop one of the biggest announcements of the day. And we're going to take a look at it here in just 1 second. So, as always, ladies and gentlemen, because we are operating a tin can and string operation here that is in part powered by cheap surplus Ukrainian equipment, give me a sound check. Let me know if this thing's coming through. And with that, here's Donald Trump from the presser down at Mar-a-Lago.
With all of that being said, I think it's very important to have debates. And we've agreed with Fox on a date of September 4th. We've agreed with NBC, fairly full agreement, subject to them, on September 10th. And we've agreed with ABC on September 25th. So we have those 3 dates, and those networks, they're very anxiously awaiting that date and those dates. So we have September 4th, September 10th, and September 25th. We have spoken to the heads of the network, and it's all been confirmed, other than some fairly minor details. Audience, some location, which city would we put it into, but all things that will be settled very easily. I think it'll be very easy.
Okay, now, I want to stop here for a minute and comment on some things. Trump had already agreed to the September 4th. Well, now he just cranked it up with adding NBC, but notice the date that he's got NBC down for. And I don't know if he made a mistake here or if this is actually what he's got agreed to. He's got NBC on September 10th. Well, now, wait a minute. That's when ABC was supposed to be doing their debate. Now, did he make a mistake, or is that actually what he's got going? Because if that's what he's got going, then I don't know. And maybe I'm thinking about this way too much. Maybe he's setting Kamala up here because she's supposedly under the belief that she's debating Trump on ABC on September 10th. Is he setting her up somehow? Did he make a mistake with which networks we're talking about? I want to go back. Let me go back. I want to play that again just to make sure I am hearing that right. Okay. Give me 1 second here. I just want to make sure that I am hearing this correctly. Give me 1 sec. Okay. I'm going to pop this back up here. Let me check all this, and you guys can check it with me. Here we go.
And we've agreed with Fox on a date of September 4th. We've agreed with NBC, fairly full agreement, subject to them, on September 10th. And we've agreed with ABC on September 25th.
Okay, he's reading that off notes. Now, assuming that he's not written that down wrong, then he's just flipped the script on Kamala in a bunch of different ways. Okay? And let's take a look at the article from NBC News that kind of delves into this a little bit deeper, and I'll explain why I'm saying he flipped the script. Okay? Got an article here from NBCnews.com, and it reads as follows. Trump says he wants to face Harris 3 debates in September. At a press conference on Thursday, the former president said he accepted invitations from NBC News, Fox News, and ABC News. Article written by, who wrote this? Alexandra Marquez and Garrett Hawk. We have the following. Former President Donald Trump on Thursday said he would be open to debating Vice President Kamala Harris 3 times in September. Speaking during a press conference at his Mar-a-Lago resort, Trump said, quote, I think it's very important to have debates, and added that he has accepted invitations from NBC, Fox News, and ABC News. Okay, all right, wait a minute. All right. Okay, he did get that incorrect, apparently. During the announcement, Trump seemingly got some of his dates incorrect. Both ABC News and the Trump campaign later clarified that ABC debate would take place September 10th. All right, never mind what I was saying. Fox debate would be September 4th. A source familiar with the plan said that the NBC News one was set for September 25th, which was one of the options the network gave the campaign as a date. All right, let's talk about this. Let's talk about it. I do agree with my fellow content creators on this, the ones that I've at least heard their reaction to it so far. Because remember, up to now, Harris and her minions have been saying, Trump's afraid to debate me. Trump's afraid to debate me. He backed out of the September 10th date, and Trump said, well, okay, fine. Let's debate on Fox on September 4th. Oh, well, I'm not going to go on Fox. I'm not going to go on Fox at all. Well, you said you wanted to debate. Well, I'm giving you a date. I'm giving you a place. Let's go. Well, you agreed to September 10th. So Trump ups the ante and says, okay, I've agreed to 3 debates. Fox News on September 4th, ABC on September 10th, and NBC on September 25th. What do you want to do? Well, we've got her answer for that here in just 1 second, and we are going to get to it. So Kamala Harris was out campaigning today, and she was asked about this. Here's her reaction to the whole thing.
Madam Vice President, Donald Trump agreed to 3 debates. Will you be participating in all 3?
I've always been on record. I am looking forward to debating Donald Trump, and we have a date of September 10th. I hear he is finally committed to it. I'm looking forward.
What about the other 2?
Let's make sure we get this photo of everyone. Look great here.
What about the other 2? She's not saying crap. Donald Trump has flipped the script on her. What's she going to do? Donald Trump has offered her 3 debates, 3 dates, 3 different networks. But notice the one catch. Fox is first. Now, look, I don't know what's going on inside the mind of the Trump campaign, okay? I don't know what Trump's thinking. I don't know what, his campaign managers, Susie Wiles and Chris LaCivita, are thinking. I don't know. But why do I have the funny feeling that these debates, if they happen, are going to hinge on her agreeing to go on Fox on September the 4th? Now, and again, I could be dead wrong about this. I have no idea other than just my instinct. Okay? But why do I think all this is going to hinge on her agreeing to go on Fox before she ever goes on ABC News or NBC? Because, I mean, what's she going to do? I mean, is she going to absolutely... You agree to September the 10th. That's what you agree with. You agree to September 10th, and that's all we're going to do. We're going to debate just once, and that's going to be the end of it. Hey, you're the one that said I was afraid to debate you, Kamala. I'm giving you 3 different options with 3 different networks. I've agreed to all of them. You want to come out and play? You want a shot at the champ? Come on, let's get in the ring. Let's go. Not just get in 1 ring. I'll get you in 3 rings. Let's do it. Come on, lady. You know. I mean, for her to try to avoid Fox News is one thing. Is she going to try to avoid NBC News? I mean, the possibilities coming out of this are absolutely fascinating. Okay. Now, is NBC going to be all that heartbroken if Kamala Harris turns down a debate on their network? Well, maybe, maybe not. I'm sure they'd like to. I'm sure they'd love to host the debate. It'd be great ratings. Now, I saw that too, and we're going to play a clip here in a second. And I tend to agree with you. I think he's making a tactical mistake, but we'll get to that momentarily. And not just more active, but how you go about doing it too. I'll agree with that. Because I'm like you. I don't like the idea of letting her define herself or define the terms. I'm like an old gunfighter in the West. I will shoot at your boots and make you dance. Trump needs to be making her dance. But I mean, what's she going to do? Blow off Fox News and blow off NBC? I mean, that's what I'm saying. The possibilities here for how to twist her around are really good and totally fun. Because remember, in her mind, she's only going to debate Trump once. Just once. On ABC, which is what he agreed to, except she's not telling anybody he agreed to that with Joe Biden. He didn't agree to that with her. Well, and this is another possibility too. If she bails on the Fox News debate and he shows up, he's got basically an hour and a half or 2 hours of, free press time. TBA over on Rumble says, when Kamala blows off 2 debates, the mainstream media will not be able to save her. I don't know that they wouldn't be able to save her, but they're not going to be able to hide that fact. Because, I mean, even if they don't even talk about it, people are going to see it. Donald Trump offered her 3 debates on 3 different networks. He's agreed to go on all 3 networks. All she's got to do is agree to it, and they just work out the final terms. But the trick is, Fox has got to be the first one. We'll see. We'll see what happens here. Yeah, but and I agree with you, but there's just one thing, okay? There's just one thing, and I go back to what Christian just said. You need to make her start dancing. You need to push her. You need to force her into an error, which she's making them, just no one's realizing it yet. We'll get to some of that later too. So Kamala is all set for September 10th. That's what she's got on the brain. All right, let's get to some of these comments, okay? Now, Christian brought up the fact that Trump needs to be more active. He basically said he's not going to campaign much in August to let the DNC have their moment. I'm like Christian. I don't agree with this. I think it's a bad idea. But to give it its full context, we've got the clip. This runs about 2 minutes, and then we'll talk about it. Okay? So here we go.
What a stupid question this is.
Okay, now let me stop there in case you didn't hear it. The reporter asks, hey, some of your allies are saying that you need to be out there more. This is your first event in a week. Why are you not out there doing more things? Well, Trump kind of gets irritated with this, obviously, and you heard that, well, what a stupid question. All right, here's his answer to that.
Because I'm leading by a lot and because I'm letting their convention go through, and I am campaigning a lot, I'm doing tremendous amounts of taping here. We have commercials that are at a level I don't think that anybody's ever done before. Plus, in certain cases, I see many of you in the room where I'm speaking to you on phones, I'm speaking to radio, I'm speaking to television. Television's coming over here. Excuse me, what are we doing right now? She's not doing any news conference. You know why she's not doing it? Because she can't do a news conference. She doesn't.
All right, I want to stop here before we finish this. And I do want to get into this. It is almost full 2 weeks. I mean, next week is the lead up to the convention. The third week of August is the convention. Okay. So we've got basically a full 7, 8, 9, 10. We've got about 10 days before the start of the Democrat National Committee. I'm sorry, and I love President Trump as much as anybody else, but you can do a lot of things in 10 days. Okay. Now, the argument that says, all right, it's their convention, you're not going to get that much. All right, 11 days. I stand corrected. I wasn't counting this evening, but all right, point taken. TBA says, stay out of the enemy's way when they are destroying themselves. Sun Tzu from The Art of War. Okay, I see that point as well. But I'm sorry, you've got 11 days to make hay. Okay? You could be more active. You could be more out there. I mean, I get it. You're doing campaign ads at Mar-a-Lago. You're doing tapings. You're talking to people on radio and TV. He's on Fox mornings with Fox News, stuff like that. I get it. Yeah, and you're right, Ruben. This point is true, too. He is doing a lot. It just might not be visible. But I'm sorry. And again, I'm not trying to necessarily get into a fight with anybody here, but I think it's a valid point. You've got 11 days before she gets the spotlight. In 11 days, you can do a lot of damage to this lady. Okay? You can do a ton of damage to this woman. Now, TBA, your point is just as equally valid. If they are destroying themselves, don't get in their way doing it. Well, let me ask you a question for the sake of argument. Is she destroying herself? Now, Timala out there, Timala, for you South Park fans, Timala, he's out there blowing himself up all the time. Man, he opens his mouth and somebody goes researching, old video clips and old interviews and everything else. I get it, but I mean, it's like, again, you could be out on the campaign trail. Okay, yes, the Aiden Ross interview, 30 million viewers. True, I see your point. But some people, and I understand the why. There are things you could be doing. Okay, you've got 11 days to do them in. Make the hay fly. TBA says yes, Kamala is destroying herself and the DNC at the same time. Okay, you might be right. You might be right. I'm not saying you're wrong. Let's see how this thing plays out. I mean, I am not above admitting that I could always be wrong. Okay. I don't. And again, I can see this point too. I mean, I just don't. I understand the necessity in some of what is being done, but I also see the argument. Okay. If you give her 3 or 4 weeks, which is basically now what she's going to have, 2 weeks of already being out there and another week before the convention and the week of the convention, you're going to give her about 30 days. I'm just saying there's just, if you're counting on the debate to be the thing that does her in, what if you don't knock her out in one debate or 2 or 3? What if she hangs around all the way to the 15th round and manages to land one punch and knocks you out? I mean, I'm just saying. But anyway, so Trump is saying, yeah, they're having their convention right now. I'm doing stuff, yada, yada, yada. Okay. Well, and maybe this happens too. Maybe this happens too. I guess I'm old school on this. And like I said, I see both sides of this argument, but I guess I'm old school. You define your opponent before they get the chance to define themselves. TBA says, I'm curious how Christian thinks that Kamala is dangerous. Now, Christian, you're under no obligation to answer that question. I'm just saying it has been asked from the Rumble side. You're, like I said, I'm not trying to bait you into anything, but the question's been asked. Why do you think that Kamala is dangerous? Oh, really? They said that Taylor Swift was going to be at the Detroit rally. Oh, okay. Oh, that Detroit rally, according to reports, was a disaster at the end. All right. Oh, really? Really, really, really? Okay, I've heard some of that too. Kamala is dangerous because she believes in the power of the pen. She has talked explicitly about how she, with a stroke of a pen, she can change society for the worse. That sounds like Obama. I have a pen and I have a phone. I remember that statement. Well, we're going to get into some. We're going to get into some of that too, because I want to go back to something from last night. And somebody made a fantastic point about this today. It's not, so the thought's not necessarily original to me, but man, when I heard this, I was like, damn, they're absolutely right. Absolutely right. Anyway, all right, back to the rest of this comment. It runs for about another minute, so here you go.
Doesn't know how to do a news conference. She's not smart enough to do a news conference. And I'm sorry, we need smart people to lead this country because our country's never been in this danger before, both economically and from an outside perspective. Russia doesn't respect us anymore. China doesn't respect us anymore. North Korea, Kim Jong-un liked me a lot. He doesn't like this group. We are in great danger. We're in great danger of being in World War III. That could happen. No, after.
Okay. All right, TBA, you're about to get your answer. Dangerous in a few ways. She galvanizes young people. Number two, she has her message rehearsed and it's disciplined. She's firing on all cylinders on social media. In Trump's absence, she controls the narrative. Okay, that's a reasonable answer. Very reasonable. WWG1 says that assumes she gets in. The danger is what she would do after getting in, not a danger because she can beat Trump. Oh, yeah, she could beat Trump. She could. I was thinking about this earlier today. And I was thinking to myself, if she were to beat Trump, how does she do it? And if she does it, it's going to be similar to what Joe did in 2020. Keep it just close enough in just the right states that she ekes it out at the end. No, I'm not even going to get into the question of fraud or electioneering or anything else. I'm just saying, get it close enough and just kind of with a little bit of a push at the end. She pushes certain states over to her and repeats Joe Biden's format of victory. 300 plus electoral votes, a difference of 50,000 votes. That's just my theory, if she does it. All right, next clip. Again, from Trump's press conference, okay? The Jewish vote. Her only power is cheating. Gen Z isn't entirely made up of blue idiots. That's true. That is true. Fair point. All right, Trump and the Jewish vote. This runs about 50 seconds. Here you go.
That Kamala is in favor of not giving Israel weapons? Yeah. That's what I hear. Look, she's been very, very bad to Israel, and she's been very bad to Jewish people. And I say it, if anybody I know is Jewish and they would vote for Kamala over me, they should have their head examined. If you think about it, I gave them Golan Heights. I gave them the capital of Israel, Jerusalem. I even built the embassy. I gave them no Iran deal. The problem is they didn't do anything with it. Iran was broke. We could have made a deal so easily. I would have had a deal done within 1 week after the election with Iran. Iran can't have a nuclear weapon. It's very simple. We would have gotten along with Iran. I was looking forward to it. I was fine with Iran. You know, we hit them a couple of times pretty hard, but we would have been fine with Iran.
Okay. Now, there is something to be said for this because Trump is doing very well with the Jewish vote in certain states, particularly New York. He's actually, according to Sienna's most recent poll out of New York State, he's actually beating Kamala with the Jewish vote. Now, it's a large subgroup, but we'll see what happens. And Ruben says, Biden won by ching, so I don't know what you're talking about. She can only win with fraud. As I said, I'm not necessarily getting into the question of electioneering. I'm just saying, if she wins, that's going to be the theory of how she does it. It's so close in the certain states that she, with a little bit of a push, you know, wins Michigan by 20,000 votes, wins Wisconsin by 15,000 votes, wins Arizona by, 20. I mean, I'm just giving examples, but that's how she would do it. That's part of the reason why I say bury her now. Don't wait for her to get out of the Democrat National Convention. Bury her now. Define her now. Run ads on YouTube, on Rumble, everywhere you possibly can, and define her. Don't give her the chance to redefine herself. Look, let's just be perfectly honest about it. Okay? Kamala Harris is a blithering idiot. She is profoundly insecure as a human being. She has little to no self-confidence. She's mean. She's vindictive. You got a taste of that last night in Detroit. Okay? The veneer came down on her. You saw what she could be like. Okay? She's a blithering idiot. She is profoundly insecure, little to no self-confidence, mean as a snake, conniving. She will use people to get herself ahead. Okay? That's what she is. Show the American people that. And show how she is as much an accomplice to everything that's happened in the past 3.5 years as Joe is directly responsible for it. That's what you need to be doing. That's what should have been going on for the past 2 weeks. Okay, well, and maybe I am just jumping the gun. Maybe I'm just jumping the gun and I'm worrying for nothing here, but I'm just, we're getting to that point. I'm starting to get concerned. And like I say, maybe I'm getting concerned for nothing. If you got, as I tell people all the time, I am very good at talking people off the proverbial ceiling, like a cat that's hung up there. It's like, I've got, people have their claws sunk in, and I usually I'm the one talking to them saying, it's going to be okay. We've got this. It's going to be fine. I guess now I need you guys to do that for me, because we're getting down to it. We're under 90 days. Certain things need to start happening. And the problem with Kamala right now is she has the blessing. She has the blessing of a very compressed window to run in. Now, yeah, I think we all are to one degree or another. And yeah, look, and Christian will immediately know the name I'm dropping here, and so will most of you guys. I am an absolute student of Lee Atwater. If you guys know anything about the 1988 campaign, and I know I've talked about it on occasion, Lee Atwater was then the chairman of the Republican National Committee, and Lee Atwater's rule was, we're going to define them before they get to define us, and we're going to hit them so hard, they're not going to know what hit them. And if they lay a charge at our feet, boom, we're going to turn it around in less than 24 hours and hit them back harder, faster, and quicker than they ever hit us with. Now, you can say a lot of things about the way Lee operated in politics, but he was very effective. Very, very effective. All right. A couple of 3 more clips here. And I think I'll save that one for last. This one, I haven't heard this one yet, but I saw it and I'm kind of curious. This one has to do with a question related to one of Trump's old associates, Steve Bannon. It was asked by a reporter, I think it was Jane Zirkle of Real America's Voice.
Do you believe that the imprisonment of Steve Bannon was politically motivated?
Yeah.
Mr. President.
Because other people have done far bigger things than Steve Bannon. Sure, it's politically motivated. I think it's a horrible thing they did. Look, they've weaponized government against me. Look at the Florida case. It was a totally weaponized case. All of these cases, by the way, the New York cases are totally controlled out of the Department of Justice. They sent their top person to the various places. They went to the AG's office, got that one going. Then he went to the DA's office, got that one going, ran through it. No, this is all politics, and it's a disgrace.
Okay. Couple of more little clips, and then we'll move on to something else. This one's kind of funny. And it's kind of a backhanded slap at Judge Arthur Engeron up in New York State. This one's kind of cute. I just think it's funny, so I thought I'd throw it in here. Check this one out.
Florida's abortion ballot referendums. Would you support?
Would you repeat that question, please?
I can speak
You have to
up.
speak up.
Yes, sir. I said
It's a hard room because it's very big. If you know,
I
this is worth $18 million. So I
said
I'm sorry, you'll have to repeat that. It's a very big room. They say it's only worth $18 million. Yeah. One last one. And you knew some reporter was going to bring up Willie Brown. Okay. You just knew it was going to happen. And I think Trump handled this with quite a deft touch. And with that, here you go.
Harris's relationship with Willie Brown, the former mayor of San Francisco, and how that might have intersected with her career trajectory. So I'm just wondering if you followed that discussion at all and have any thoughts on that.
Well, I know Willie Brown very well. In fact, I went down in a helicopter with him. We thought maybe this is the end. We were in a helicopter going to a certain location together, and there was an emergency landing. This was not a pleasant landing, and Willie was he was a little concerned. So I know him pretty well. I mean, I haven't seen him in years, but he told me terrible things about her. But this is what you're telling me anyway, I guess. But he had a big part in what happened with Kamala. But he I don't know, maybe he's changed his tune, but he was not a fan of hers very much at that point.
Now that's probably about as deft as you're going to handle that question. And again, I'm not sitting here trying to praise Trump, unnecessarily. If he does something good, I'll tell you. If I think he screws something up, I'll tell you. But this was a little bit of what happened. Now, let's flip the script, as they say these days, and let's talk about Kamala Harris for a minute. I mean, y'all have heard, this evening I know that I've been expressing some frustrations. I know I've been expressing them now for a few days. And I think one of them is a very legitimate frustration, at least as it relates to her. And that is, woman's been the presumptive and now the actual nominee of the Democrat Party, all told, for 18 days. And this woman has yet to do an impromptu interview. TBA says, Brian, how can you think that Trump did not take every opportunity to define and contain Kamala during his press conference? I'm not saying he didn't. I'm not saying he didn't, but there's other ways of doing it. I mean, I understand why Trump did the press conference, okay? Because to me, it's the crescendo of the argument. She won't talk to the press. Well, now you've got J.D. Vance going out and doing a real, really good political move yesterday on the tarmac out in Wisconsin. Now you got Trump doing a 1 hour press conference, okay, today. And it's just driving. I'm not saying he's not doing it. I'm just saying, everywhere you can, every moment you can, start doing it now. Be it commercials, be it press conferences, do it everywhere. Everywhere you can. With every surrogate you've got, get your message out there about what she is. Like I said, maybe I'm worrying for nothing here, okay? I look, I think the other part of my frustration is, honest to God, she's worse than Joe Biden. Okay? She is worse than Joe Biden. Now, I don't necessarily mean ideologically. I just mean as a political candidate. She's horrible. In one sense, I sort of wish Joe was still the candidate, but I wish it would have been Joe Biden from maybe 8 years ago, not the Joe Biden that we've got today. Hell, I'd been happy if we had the Joe Biden from 2020. I'd run that race against him again. I saw an interview that he did in the 2020 campaign. It was probably in the last 2 months. He sat down with Norah O'Donnell of CBS News. And it was just remarkable to me, the degree of how much he has deteriorated physically and mentally from that interview in 2020 to today. It's just remarkable. Made me sad. On a human level, it made me sad for the man. So I think part of what's driving my frustration is knowing just how bad a candidate she is politically. And right now, it just, at least to me, and again, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm worrying for nothing here, okay? But I don't know if I want to call it complacency. Something feels like it's off. And again, maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm worrying for nothing. And I apologize to you guys that I'm belaboring this point, but damn it, bury this woman politically. Do it now. Don't wait till she gets to the convention. Do it now. Start running ads on social media. Start running ads on TV. Start running radio ads. Whatever you got to do, just bury this broad. Sorry, ladies, I'm using a very old school term here. Okay, well, maybe I am. Maybe I am. Okay, that's fair. That is fair. It's real easy for me sitting here in Huntington, West Virginia, in my nice little cushy little study, sitting behind a microphone and a camera to make, why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing that? That's a very fair point. Very fair. I agree. Anyway, so let's flip the coin, or flip the script, as they say. Zippy says, did you see Vivek interviewing Mark Cuban? God bless Vivek. He's just so nice. I saw a snippet of that. I did see a snippet of that, and makes me curious to go watch the whole thing, because just the little 2 minutes that I saw, that looks like a truly intriguing conversation. The snippet that I saw was on the question of climate change. And obviously, Mark Cuban and Vivek Ramaswamy have two vastly different positions on that. But the way they both approached each other in that conversation was really cool to watch. I mean, obviously, Mark Cuban didn't agree with him, and Vivek didn't agree with Cuban. But the way they handled it was truly gentlemanly. And that was refreshing to watch. Truly much so. Good evening, Midmo. How you doing? All right. So Donald Trump stands up for 1 hour, takes questions from the press, does his thing, and walks out. Kamala Harris has been presumptive and the actual nominee of the Democrat Party now for 18 days and hasn't done an impromptu interview or press conference with anybody. Politico has a theory on why. Now, I think we've all got answers to what we think, but let's hear what Politico's got to say. This is from Eli Stokols, Lauren Egan, and Ben Johansson. Why Harris isn't taking any questions. There is a line in the movie Bull Durham where Crash Davis, the sage journeyman catcher played by Kevin Costner, tells Nuke LaLoosh, the young fireballer portrayed by Tim Robbins, that you never mess with a winning streak. The same holds true in politics. Vice President Kamala Harris has been on a remarkable heater since replacing President Joe Biden atop the Democrat ticket, raising ridiculous amounts of money, meeting massive euphoric crowds. I don't know about massive. Wherever she's gone and instantly rising in the polls. That's debatable. It continued on Tuesday night when she took the stage for the first time alongside her newly chosen running mate, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, as the revamped Democrat ticket offered themselves up as the optimistic avatars of a new, inclusive American future. Yeah, and as I recall, back in 2008, what was that guy's name? Was it Barack? Oh, yeah, Barack Obama. He offered himself up as the candidate of hope and change. And the American people found out after he was done, they were just hoping they had change in their pocket when he was finished with them. But I digress. Back to the article. The raucous crowd inside the arena in Philadelphia ate it up, and so did the cable networks, 3 of them which carried the event live and uninterrupted for roughly 80 minutes, starting with another strong and closely watched speech from Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro, the runner-up for Harris's vice presidential nod. The free publicity, or earned media, as operatives call it, is worth millions, and is reminiscent of the way cable networks carried countless hours of then-candidate Donald Trump's rallies in 2016. 8 years later, things have changed. Trump, now making his third run for the White House, is delivering his well-worn routine at rallies that only sporadically get live network coverage. The Right Side Broadcasting YouTube channel doesn't count. Now Harris is the new exciting thing in the race. Her rallies delivering left-leaning MSNBC some of its highest ratings in weeks, and preliminary numbers show that Tuesday's rally brought the network an audience that was more than double its 4-week norm in the 6 p.m. and 7 p.m. hours. The Harris camp is hoping to ride the wave as long as it can, so there is little worry about the candidate avoiding something else that has long been required of presidential nominees: taking questions from the press. While some reporters and columnists have started to grumble about that, J.D. Vance, Trump's running mate who is bracketing Harris and Walz on the road this week, tried on Wednesday to draw more attention to the matter. When Air Force Two landed on the tarmac at Eau Claire, Wisconsin, the Ohio senator walked over to what he called my future plane and, standing in front of news crews wanting to capture Harris's arrival, said he wanted to ask her why she refuses to answer questions, a line he repeated in a post on X. His claim that she's running a basement campaign, however, seemed at odds with the reality of him shadowing her across the Midwest all day. No, with all due respect, I disagree. I think that's a very fair question. I think a very fair statement. She is running a basement campaign, albeit in a slightly different format. They did keep Joe in the basement in 2020. They used COVID as the cover to be able to do it. She, on the other hand, is running Basement Strategy 2.0. Her variation on it, though, is I don't take questions. So it's not a hollow argument. Okay. Anyway, back to the article. Harris's last formal television sit-down interview was June 24th, when she joined MSNBC's Morning Joe to mark the anniversary of the Supreme Court's Dobbs decision that ended federal protections for abortion. 3 days later, she appeared on CNN and spoke one-on-one with anchor Anderson Cooper less than an hour after Biden's disastrous debate performance, acknowledging, quote, it was a slow start, but confidently suggesting that the country should assess his performance in office over 3.5 years, not 90 minutes on a debate stage. Okay. Going a little further into this article, one longtime Harris ally suggested to West Wing Playbook of Politico that Harris could hold off on big interviews until Labor Day. There's really no need, the person said. The voters that she needs are at the local level. They're not reading the national press. Walz, whose viral cable TV appearances helped propel him onto the ticket, could be deployed on television more liberally than Harris in the coming months, the two people said. but it's also quite possible both candidates will focus much of their media outreach on podcasts, influencers, and other platforms outside the traditional news media. So far, Harris' rally speeches delivered with a teleprompter have been well received, and she has routinely interacted with the reporters that travel with her. But on her own terms. She often visits with the press pool seated at the back of the plane, something Biden did just twice in more than 3 years, but speaking only off the record. And when she has chosen to comment on the record on something in the news, Harris has spoken to the pool on the tarmac, making statements but not taking questions. Quote, "What is the incentive for her to take more questions?" said another person close to the campaign was granted anonymity to share how Harris's team views the matter. Quote, "She's getting exactly the message out that she wants." Well, that's their theory on this. I just don't think it's going to last. Okay, here's my problem with her strategy. Joe Q Public is going to pick up on this. They probably already are. They're seeing what she's doing. It's not going to work. Sooner or later, Kamala Harris has got to sit down with somebody for an interview. She's got to have a press conference akin to what Donald Trump did today. She cannot keep running from this. As a matter of fact, CNN had a great... Well, now let me back this up a second. So Kamala gets asked the question, are you planning on doing interviews? Are you going to talk to people? Here is her response, again, on the tarmac.
Madam President, there's been a lot of questions about when you're going to sit down for your first interview since being the nominee.
I've talked to my team. I want us to get an interview scheduled before the end of the month.
Did you catch that? Let me play that again.
Madam President, there's been a lot of questions about when you're going to sit down for your first interview since being the nominee.
All right, so here's the question that she's asked. There's been a lot of questions about when you're going to sit down for your first interview since you've become the nominee. Here is her answer to that. This is mind-boggling.
I've talked to my team. I want us to get an interview scheduled before the end of the month.
I've talked to my team, and I want to do an interview before the end of the month? Huh? What the? Huh? I want to do an interview before the end of the month? To borrow a line from one of my favorite clips on YouTube, what the hell is even that? It is the 8th of August. You are 11 days away from the beginning of the Democrat National Convention in Chicago, Illinois. For 4 days, you and your running mate, Kamala Walls, are going to be controlling, more or less, the media. And somewhere between now and the 31st of August is when you're planning on doing an interview, if you even do one at all. Yeah, I agree. You call it stonewalling. I call it trying to run out the clock. I mean, okay, in one sense, you can get away with it right now because the press is letting you get away with it. Yeah, and yeah, I mean, yeah, Christian, I want to put this up here. Yeah, keep her as far away from, I mean, hell, keep her away from Lester Holt. Lester Holt ate her lunch 3 years ago. But I'm like you. In one sense, yeah, that's exactly what I'd tell her to do. I just don't know how long she's going to be able to do it. You know, I've talked to my team and I want to do an interview before the end of the month. What? You're running for the presidency of the United States of America, the highest office in this land and arguably the most powerful position in the world. And you think you can go the next 23 days and not sit down for an interview with somebody? Even a mediocre journalist. You mean you're not even willing to sit down with George Stephanopoulos? George Stephanopoulos would give you the biggest lapdog interview you've ever had. And you're not even willing to sit down with him? Oh, I'll sit down with George. Well, honey, ain't nothing stopping you. Go for it. We're all waiting. I'm waiting. Unbelievable. Yeah. And that's why they're doing their dead level best. That's why they're doing their dead level best to keep her away from anybody. Well, yeah, she did. She backed out of the Fox debate. Well, it's not so much she backed out of it. She said, we agreed to September 10th. That's when I'm going to debate you. I have the strange feeling, and again, I could be dead wrong about this. I have the strangest feeling that these debates are going to hinge on her accepting Fox News on September the 4th. Dude, I would do it in a heartbeat. And now, under certain provisos, the provisos are the following. No subject is off limits. I get to ask any question I want, and she's got to go 60 minutes with me. Oh, and one more proviso. Okay? If she tries to dodge me on any question, we're not moving on to the next one until she answers it. We might be stuck on one question all night long, but for 60 minutes, she's going to be answering that question. But yeah, I'd do it in a heartbeat. And contrary to what people might think about it, contrary to what people might think, I would give her the respect. I would give her the respect that her office is due. I would give her the respect as the nominee of her party. But as far as giving her any softballs, forget it. Ain't happening. Yeah, that's probably true too. They'd probably ask me for the questions. I'd be like, nope, ain't happening. Not happening at all. I might give them the subjects, but as far as the questions, forget it. Ain't happening. I want to read this out loud because I need to make sure I understand this. I've said this once before and I'll say it again. Even though they both, being Trump and Kamala, need the engagement between them, Kamala needs these debates exponentially more than Trump, and he can say she don't show up on the 4th, then don't expect me on the 10th. Good point. You know, Minmo, I actually agree with this. Trump is given to hyperbole. I know that's a shocking revelation to all of you, but Trump's given to a little bit of hyperbole. I'm leading big time over this woman. Okay, we'll see about that. But let's remember something. She might be the vice president, and she might be a lot of different things, but she's got to take him down, not the other way around. Okay? If Trump does his job right, beating her isn't going to be that difficult. All right. It's just simply a matter of telling everybody her record and defining her appropriately. She needs to land some haymakers on Trump, and she needs every opportunity to do that. The degree to which she needs the debates is up for an argument. Okay. Or it's debatable. But she needs the debates. Oh, I absolutely agree with this. I absolutely agree with this. That's why everybody was so shocked about the CNN debate, because they're like, you agreed to what? You gave them what terms? Are you nuts? And then he just walked right in there and just kicked Biden's political rear end all over the place. Okay. So she's not answering questions, but she did make some statements to the press today without a teleprompter, and we will get to those momentarily. But before we do, if you have happened on this live stream and you've seen this poor manic host of yours going up and down in his emotions, ranting and raving about Donald Trump, talking about Kamala, or just ranting and raving in general, and you're wondering, who the heck is this guy? Well, let me introduce myself, the manic host that you're looking at. My name is Brian Trippett. This live stream is known as Chattin on the Porch. The members of the audience are known as Fedora Nation. We get together Monday through Thursday night, 7:30 Eastern, under normal circumstances, and we get together and we talk about the news. Now, if that's your sort of thing, and by the way, you are allowed to tell me that I am full of crap. And believe me, my audience has done that on more than enough occasions. They do it with love. Sometimes. No, they always do. But yeah, you're allowed to disagree with me. And, you're always welcome here. So if that's the sort of thing you like, why don't you just go ahead and subscribe to my channel on Rumble and YouTube? And while you're at it, why don't you go ahead and give me a thumbs up and share the link. And leave a comment. Yeah, I know, I'm so demanding. You've just found your way to this live stream. And you're sitting there going, my God, this guy wants me to do so much. I know, I'm bad that way. And here's a good example of the audience telling me that I'm full of crap. Thanks a lot, Midmo. I appreciate it. Anyway. So Kamala Harris did speak to the press today, and it was not on a teleprompter. She had a meeting at a local UAW, and I'm thinking this was. Guys, help me out here. This meeting at the local UAW, was this in Michigan or was this in Wisconsin? I'm trying to remember where this was at. I'm thinking it was Michigan. Okay, but she gave some comments. And this one, some people would be generous and call. Oh, it was Wisconsin. The UAW meeting was in Wisconsin. Okay, thank you, Midmo. I appreciate it. Some people would be generous and call this woman a chameleon. I would be less than generous, and I would call her a phony. And if you wonder why I say that, then I think you're going to understand in this 30-second clip. She seems to have a habit of developing the accent of where she's visiting, and this may be one more example of that. I could be wrong, but anyway, you guys check this out and tell me what you think.
The one thing about all of us is we like hard work. Hard work is good work. Hard work is good work. The thing that we like about hard work is we have fun doing hard work. Because we know what we stand for. And that's a big part of this campaign. When you know what you stand for, you know what to fight for. We know what we stand for, and we stand for the people.
Okay, well, would you do everybody a favor there, Kamala? If you stand for the people, would you please have the good decency to tell us what you want to do for them? Okay, guys, I'm sorry. I'm going to rant here for a minute. I apologize in advance. I've had it. I have had enough of this stinking, sugary, cotton candy palabra coming out of this woman's mouth. We stand for the people. We know what we stand for. We stand for the people. Then tell us what the hell you're gonna do. I have had it with this woman. To hell with this. You are nothing more than the political equivalent of cotton candy. You're sweet and fluffy and no substance whatsoever. I mean, good God. At least Joe Biden was all about ice cream. You're no better than cotton candy. Big and fluffy and colorful and not anything that will fill you up and leave you politically satisfied or give you hope. Not real, real hope. Not the kind of that she's peddling right now. Oh my God, this woman, I just can't stand her. I want her, that useless, loudmouth, ill-tempered Minnesota governor running mate of hers, all of Obama's people that are helping her try to win this campaign, I want them politically buried. I want them assigned, they and their ideology, I want them assigned to the ash heap of history. Once and for all of time, such that we never have a cancer like her on the American body again. Sorry, I just needed to get that out of my system. All right. We've got some more from Cotton Candy Kamala. Now, Christian commented on this one today. And I see where he's going with it, and I think you're, well, thank you very much. Thank you very much. TBA says, I love this rant. Finally, some truth. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm done with her. I am done. She is politically useless. She adds nothing of substance to the discussion of the issues affecting and afflicting the American people today. She offers no solutions. All she is the political equivalent of cotton candy. But she said something today. And remember what I said about Kamala. For the next however long we've got till this campaign is over with, she has to keep the mask on. She can't let people really see who she is or what she believes. Well, she let something slip today, and it's very minor. Okay? It's very minor, but it's very telling. This clip runs 15 seconds, and you guys need to hear this. Check this out.
We believe in the collective. We're not falling for these folks who are trying to divide us, trying to separate us, trying to pull us apart. That's not where the strength lies.
We believe in the collective. We believe in the collective. Not the individual. Not the individual exercising their God-given freedom and liberty. Not the individual striving to make a better life for themselves and their community as individuals. No, we believe in the collective. I want to play that clip again because we're going to stop and talk about some of this.
We believe in the collective. We're not falling for these folks who are trying to divide us, trying to separate us, trying to pull us apart.
Well, then you need to leave the Democrat Party, sister, because for 3.5 years and probably more than 30 years, that's exactly what your party's been doing to the American people. You don't want to fall for that stuff? Then I strongly recommend you get out of the Democrat Party and you retire from American politics, because that's all you've been selling the American people ever since you and Joe Biden have been in the White House. That is all your mentor Barack Obama was selling the American people for 8 years under the guise of hope and change. That's all your party has been selling the American people for 30 years. And you have the gall and the audacity to stand there and claim that you're the uniter. You, who are a member of a party that is putting people in jail because you politically disagree with them. You, who have the gall to be part of a political party that calls 75 million people radicals. And you would have people who engaged in legitimate political protest on January 6th, you would have them kept in jail. Shame on you! How dare you! I can't, to borrow a phrase that the kids use these days, I can't with this woman. I cannot with this woman. I can't with her. I can't. Sorry, guys. This woman absolutely just sends me straight up. You know, Christian, maybe I shouldn't interview this woman because I might lose my shit. I don't think I would. I think I could hold it together for 60 minutes. But the second she walked out the door, somebody would have to hand me a towel so I could put it in my mouth to keep from cussing her out. Now, I'm not kidding. All right, one more clip. And the irony in this one, is just remarkable. You got to hear this. This is just too freaking good.
And you know, there's some perversion that's happened in our country in the last several years, where there's a suggestion that somehow strength is about making people feel small, making people feel alone.
Who said that? Come on, Kamala. Who said that? You want to give me an example? Granted, it's a 15-second clip, so we're not going to necessarily get it, but you want to start giving me some examples? God, you are the most useless politician in America today. WWG1 on Rumble says it's a straw man argument. Absolutely. Zippy's like, why does she sound drunk? Yep. From each according to his ability, us, to each according to his needs, them. Here's to you, lad. TBA says she's slurring her words. Can we keep getting her drunk every day? Please. It might be the only way I can tolerate her. Straight up Marxist. Yeah, she is. She is. See, that's the thing that most people, if permit me for a moment to get philosophical for a moment. See, that's the thing that people don't understand about what the Democrats are trying to sell. Okay? The way that I have framed the argument, and there are people far better at this sort of thing than I am. I mean, Christian Watson is fantastic. James Lindsay is fantastic. You know, there are others out there that are just absolutely brilliant at articulating philosophy, be it political or otherwise. But the way I've always framed the argument over the years is this. You have one of two choices. You either have individual liberty and freedom on one side, and on the other side is the choice of supposed benevolent despotism. Okay? Well, I appreciate that coming from you, Professor, but like I say, when it comes to the exposition of philosophy, I will defer to your talents, as you are far more gifted than I am. But I appreciate the kind words. You either have individual freedom or you have supposed benevolent despotism. Now, what do I mean by supposed benevolent despotism? Well, it basically goes like this. Progressives are going to come along and say, hey, I can make you safe. I can make you know that problem you're experiencing? Look, let me take care of it for you. You're right. It's not fair that you're going through this. It's not just that you have to deal with this. I can bring about justice for you and so many other people. Oh, well, what do you got to do for that? Look, you leave this to me. You vote me in and I'll take care of it. So they vote them in, and then what begins to happen? In order for them to solve the problem that they claim you're going through, you have to give up two things to them. You have to give up your money and you have to give up your political power. Okay? And in the name of what I call supposed benevolent despotism, in other words, they will be a benevolent despot. Okay? They're going to have power over you. They're going to lord it over you, but they're doing it for your benefit. They're doing it for your benevolence. Okay? They're doing it because they love you. They have to take away a little bit of your money and a little bit of your freedom in order to solve the problem. Okay. But the problem with that, it's an inverse ratio. The more power and money of yours they acquire, the less money and power you have in the process. That's the great trade-off in this. In order for the state to solve your problem, whatever it may be, you have to give up money and power. You have to give up your economic liberty, and you have to give up your political liberty. And before you know it, you've got neither. You have no political liberty and you have no economic liberty. Why? Because the state has it all, because they're trying to solve your problems. Whereas if you and I and everybody else in America are left to our own devices, our common sense, our experience, you know what's going to happen? We're going to figure out very interesting and creative ways in the bounds of the law, in the bounds of civil society, we will figure out interesting and creative ways to solve these problems without having to have the state be the nanny for us. And Zippy with a couple of Rumble rants, thank you very much, my friend. Marxism is about reducing materialism and making life better by denying humanity. Think about it. That is so true. Zippy, you are a philosopher in your own right. He also says with another Rumble rant, Marxism is the marketing, socialism is the HR department, and communism is the final solution. I love that. I love that. Marxism is the marketing, socialism is the HR department, and communism is the final solution. Dude, if you don't have a Twitter page, you need to start one and put that on there. That's great. I love that. Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate that. I am just an old boy from West Virginia. You know, I am my daddy's son. Oh, let me know who you're reading these days. Not that I've necessarily got the time to dive into it myself, but I'd love to know who you're reading these days. But yeah, but that's just it. Kamala is selling you something that cannot work. We've tried it. God knows we've tried it on steroids since 2007 and 8. It doesn't work. Ask yourself this question. And normally we do this in the context of 4 years. I have a question for you, the American people. Are you better off now than you were 16 years ago? 16 years? What happened 16 years ago? I'll tell you what happened 16 years ago. Barack Obama promised you hope and change. You feel like you got either one right now? After almost 20 years, you know what? I'll even take it back further than that. Take it back to the year 2000. After almost 25 years of Obama, 1 term of Trump, and 4 years of Biden, do you feel better off now than you did 25 years ago? Zippy with one more Rumble rant, thank you very much. Taxation leads to slavery via centralization. Government hates competition. You got that right, brother. You got that right. 25 years of supposed benevolent despotism. Trump was the 4 years that was the mostly exclusion of that. But for 25 years, we have engaged in supposed benevolent despotism. Tell me something. Do you feel like you have more or less individual freedom and liberty? Because you look, this campaign is going to come down to a lot of things. Trump's going to ask the classic question, are you better off now than you were 4 years ago? Well, in this case, asking that question in 2024 is probably as much or more profound than when Reagan asked it in 1980. Okay? But in the end, this campaign is going to come down to individual liberty versus supposedly benevolent despotism. That's it. Do you know better than the government how you should order and run your life? Do you know better than the government how to spend your money? Do you know better than the government what to do with your individual freedom and liberty? Or do you think the government can run your life better than you can? There's a great, I think I referenced it the other night, Visions of the Anointed by Thomas Sowell. Kamala thinks she's one of the anointed. Obama thinks he's one of the anointed. Biden thinks he's one of the anointed, although of a different generation. They are the anointed. They know better than you how to run your life. And let's look at what they've done to your life. They have almost ruined your standard of living. You're spending more. Every individual situation is different. Okay, so I get that. But by and large, for most Americans right now, the value of the money in their pocket cannot buy them all the same things that they once enjoyed. They have little to no disposable income. They almost cannot save anything, if at all. The job that they have is threatened by cheap foreign labor. The anointed in this country are letting our southern border sit wide open, and millions of individuals are crossing, or we're just literally flying them into cities. They're taking jobs. In some cases, they're committing crimes. In some cases, they're killing our people. And the anointed, like Kamala Harris, do nothing about it. In terms of how we act around the world, we are the biggest meddlers on this planet. We're meddling in Ukraine. We're meddling in the Middle East. And we have the world on edge right now that one wrong move by somebody, and we've got the potential for either a regional conflict in the Middle East or a full-on nuclear war in Europe. That, my friends, everything I just described is what supposedly benevolent despotism is doing for you. That is what the anointed are doing for you. Is it worth it? Oh, I'm not going to vote for that guy, Donald Trump. He has mean tweets. Yeah, he does. And his mean tweets didn't cost you nearly as much money at the gas pump or the grocery store. His mean tweets meant that you could go on a vacation with your kids. That maybe, just maybe, your neighborhoods were a little bit safer. But his tweets were mean. So when your friends start talking to you, that Trump guy, I can't do it. I can't stand his guts. I can't. Okay, ask your friend one question. You better off now than you were 4 years ago? You really think Kamala's going to make this any better? Anywho, all right. I've ranted. I've raved. It is 9 o'clock. You guys have a life. I have one too. And we need to bring this train into the station. So with, and she's not here tonight. Oh, yes, she is. Yes, she is. And I owe her an explanation. M169. You asked me a question the other night. If you're still here, give me a hands up in chat. If you're still here, give me a hands up in chat. You asked me something the other night, and I owe you an explanation. before I wrap this thing up. If you're still M169, if you're still here, darling, let me know it in chat. Okay. Thank you, dear. You asked me the story behind my closing phrase on my live streams. Faster horses, younger lovers, older whiskey, more money. It's actually the chorus of an old country song. Now, you may have heard this name, and some people here I know will have heard this name. Now, Christian, you're too young. I almost guarantee you haven't heard this guy's name. No, I'm messing with you. You probably have. There was a country singer from Kentucky by the name of Tom T. Hall, who was fairly famous in the late 60s, the early 70s, throughout the 1970s, and maybe into the early 1980s. And he was a good singer. Well, maybe it's better to say he was a good talker. Tom T. Hall didn't really sing. He just talked his way through a song. But he was a fabulous songwriter. And one of the songs for which he is most remembered it's a song called, the formal title is called The Poet and the Cowboy. That's the name of the song, The Poet and the Cowboy. Most people know it by the subtitle, Faster Horses. And the great thing about Tom T. Hall was that he was absolutely extraordinary at painting pictures with words. By the time Tom T. Hall got done singing one of his songs, you had seen, if you were paying attention to the lyrics, you would see every image he was trying to paint. When in this particular song, a young idealistic man walks into a bar, and as he walks up to the bar, leaned up against it, is this old cowboy whose face is leather tan. He's thin as a rail, and they get into a discussion of the philosophies of life. And the young, idealistic young man tells him about, everything in life that's important. And the cowboy just kind of spits out some tobacco juice and says, son, it's faster horses, younger lovers, older whiskey, and more money. Okay. So, and again, not knowing what the rules are of how one does a live stream, you always want to leave I always want to leave my audience with kind of a funny. And I thought, well, how do you close out the show? And then it finally hit me. I was like, that's a great line, because it just makes people think. So with that's the explanation behind my closing to my live streams. Anyhow, by way of quick announcements before we get out of here, remember, Monday night, 7:30, Dr. Robin McCutcheon is back on the electronic front porch for a discussion of all things economic. And believe me, the world's getting very dicey when it comes to economics. I'm looking forward to having her on here. We will be back this Saturday morning at 10:30 a.m. for Front Porch Brunch to talk about a whole bunch of different things going on in the world. And WWG1 says, I close my show with, why are you all still here? Well, everybody does what they need to do. I'm just saying. Anyway, so we're going to be back this Saturday morning, 10:30 a.m. Thank you guys so much for being here tonight and putting up with my ranting and raving. I genuinely appreciate it. And remember, we're going to be back Saturday morning, 10:30. I love all of you guys. Okay. I love all of y'all. And thank you so much for helping me grow this channel as far as it has. It's going to get bigger and better before it's all said and done. I promise. The joy is in the journey, not necessarily getting to the destination. And believe me, I have a lot of fun. I have a lot of fun with these things. If nothing else, you guys are my therapy, which I know some of y'all are thinking, man, if we're the therapy, you are in deep trouble. Well, anyway, you guys have a life. So do I. Let's bring this thing in. I love you guys. We'll see you Saturday morning at 10:30 a.m. And remember, in the words of that great American philosopher, Tom T. Hall, it's faster horses, younger lovers, older whiskey, and more money. I love you guys. We'll see you Saturday morning at 10:30.